Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a really marvelous recording that one of you mentioned. I'm mentioning it because you mentioned it, and you told me to mention it, and you were right. It's this lovely disc of Menotti orchestral music, because as some of you may have been following this, I've been talking about some of Menotti's operas, which are really quite wonderful, as often as not, and so is this. You know, he was one of those composers who was under the radar. He was always getting performed. Community opera companies, people all over the world were doing his operas, but no one gave him any credit. I mean, they were getting trashed, they were getting ignored because he wasn't avant-garde enough, he wasn't revolutionary enough, he wasn't modern enough. He was just a good composer. He was a good composer who set operas to really good librettos. He got good stories. And so they were wonderful works. And that's what he spent most of his career doing. There's more than 24 of them, I think. But they're really, at this point here, not many recordings of his orchestral works. Because not only was he trashed as an opera composer, he was even more trashed and ignored as a composer of orchestral music. But the three works here are absolutely splendid, one of which is kind of familiar, the other two are not. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? We have the Spoleto Festival Orchestra under Richard Hickox with Raphael Wallfisch cello in a moment. We begin with Apocalypse, or Apocalypse, a symphonic poem in 3 movements based on the book of Revelation. And it is fun. The first movement is called Improperia, which means reproaches. It's that moment in the Good Friday liturgy when Jesus is saying to the people, "Why are you doing this to me?" And they're saying, well, you know, if you're Catholic, you understand this better than I do. Anyway, it's part of the liturgy. It's a seriously, without being, facetious, a very, very deep and powerful moment in the Good Friday liturgy and that whole thing that people go to Good Friday on. I'm just going by the music. Music's terrific. It really is. Fortunately, you don't have to know anything about the liturgy to get this call and response sort of feeling about the music. And it's powerful and it's threatening and it's great. The second movement is La Città Celeste. Yes, the celestial city. And it's almost minimalist. It's almost like a lullaby with tiny melodic fragments that repeat over and over again in a lovely and gentle way. And finally, Gli Angeli Militanti, the militant angels, or Agnelli, however you would pronounce them in Italian. I should know better than this. My brother-in-law is Italian. He's probably going to shoot me. Anyway, the militant angels, it's marked Allegro Giocoso. They're happy militant angels. They're quite happy. And the music itself has a jocose, threatening military demeanor, kind of, sort of. I mean, you got to listen to it. It has a big, wonderful ending. It's just terrific. Really fun to listen to. And most people won't know it at all. You'll be surprised at just how good it is. So is the Fantasia for cello and orchestra. 15 minutes of virtuoso fun and frolic for cello with a wonderful orchestral accompaniment. I am amazed that these pieces aren't well known. But of course, the Fantasia is 15 minutes long. It's not concerto length. It's one of those short things that you wonder why anyone even bothered to write, because it's never going to get played, because it's not long enough to be a concerto, and you're not going to find a soloist who'll put up with it. So thank Raphael Wallfisch for learning it. It has gorgeous melodies. The tunes are just beautiful. And finally, we get Sebastian, the ballet suite, which has been recorded previously. Sebastian is a wonderful, wonderful ballet. The music is so characterful. There's, for example, a cortege in here. The fourth movement is a cortege, and it's a procession. It's as cortegelicious as anything by like Rimsky-Korsakov in Tsar Sultan or Le Coq d'Or. It's colorful and just full of variety and high spirits. It's marvelous. The story is incredibly depressing. The story is about a guy who, he's in love with a courtesan, and these 2 evil sisters decide to kill the courtesan, and they make a voodoo doll and start piercing her and stabbing her to death, and he wants to save her, so he destroys the wax doll that they make, and he covers himself with her veil, so they stick pins in him instead because he's in love with the courtesan too, and he bleeds to death. I mean, it's gross, but I suppose as a ballet it works, and the music is wonderful. I mean, the music is absolutely wonderful. Like I said, these performances featuring the Spoleto Festival Orchestra, which was, Menotti's own festival that he founded under Richard Hickox, are lovely. The sonics are very good, and it's just a joy. Absolutely a joy. If you do not know his orchestral music, you are missing something. I am not kidding. Give it a shot. You will not be sorry. So thank you to the person who recommended that we talk about this, and keep on listening, friends. Take care.